Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Sweet song. For deliverance. Hare Krishna, Ivan, welcome. We'll have in English. You're good. Great. Nice to see you. Gauranga. Nita. Yes, grab the Gitas. Just open the Gita here. Gita base reader. Yes, take the seat, please. Oh, to wash your hands, yeah? We have this.
You want spray?
Spray. Is it okay? Spray, or will you have to wash it? We have. Yeah.
It's purified, yeah. Spray.
Spray.
Here we go, you can do.
Yeah.
So where is here?
Yeah. See that?
Where is here?
Yeah.
Before we start.
Nice. Welcome to the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, the final part of the 18th chapter, actually second part of the 18th chapter, which is the summary of all the instructions. It's a very long chapter. For example, chapter 12 has 20 verses, 20. Chapter 15 also has 20 verses, but chapter 18 has 78, so it's almost four times more. So it's the summary of all the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, and now we are approaching the final and most confidential instructions of Krishna, which is really the pinnacle of the Bhagavad Gita. I decided to include also the previous section, but I named it a little differently. The previous section, which we already done from text 41 to text 48, is these texts speak about, before these texts it was about the three gunas, and different, the karta, the worker, or the performer within the three gunas. How is the performer of action in the mood of goodness, in the mood of passion, in the mood of ignorance, and also the karma, the work which is done in the mood of passion, how looks like, descriptions. So after these gunas, Lord Krishna started explaining that everything you see in this world, even the demigods, the higher planets, all that exists in this world is within the three gunas. And then he returned to the planet Earth and started speaking about the different sections of human society, which is influenced by different gunas, qualities of work. And he explained the brahmanas, kshatriyas, vaishyas, and shudras. And he explained their natural qualities. The natural quality of brahmana is shama, peacefulness, self-control, shama dhamma stapa, austerity. Brahmanas, they like to do austerities. This is the Brahminical nature. It's not it's something they like to do. No? As like Kshatriya, Ishvara Bhava, he has the nature of ruling. He likes to rule, to control, but he also likes to take care of those, and he is brave. He's very brave. He is very. He will never. He will always be engaged in battle with bravery, like this. Strength, power. This is Kshatriya. Then Vaishyas, they have nature tendency for making money, for business, and for taking care of the cows. They say, because the cows in that time would be, even in our now in Croatian language, in Balkan languages, the cows and before used to be called blago. I don't know how you call it in the villages. Blago. Blago means treasury. Treasury. And the cows are actually the treasury. Today we can't realize it a lot because we have cities. But still, the milk and everything is what we're getting in the shops. Cheese, yogurt, creams, and all, butter, all kinds of. It's coming from a cow. It's coming from a cow, but this cow is exploited like heavily, because you see less and less cows you see on the fields, and more you see milk products. How is that? Less and less cows are in the fields, and more milk products are there. So there must be something weird going on. Some violent milking, and you know what we are talking about. Yeah. So, but it was called. You see, the Vaishyas they used to keep this because it's the source of richness, of income, great income come from the cows. They used to take care. And Shudras, they have natural tendency to serve, to work anything. Just they don't want to think. They're not inclined to think and to organize. Just give me some simple work and give me some food and I'm happy. This is the nature of Shudra. So all these four are there. Lord Krishna explaining those, and then he explained everyone should do his own, follow his nature in the work. And we see here we put the perfection through one's work. Perfection through one's work, because in what this means, this is the secret of work. Lord Krishna says, by following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. I mean, he's following his qualities. How he will become perfect? He's just doing what he will anyway do. Now please hear from me how this can be done, Lord Krishna says. And then he says, how? How can be done? He says, by Hare Krishna, welcome. You managed to come for the last one. Jai. Very well. Please give one. Precious attendants who will be present physically, not so. So Lord Krishna, let us recall again, he explained how this can be done. Please hear from me how this perfection can be achieved. It's interesting, isn't it? A secret. How? You're just working, you're doing your work, but you can reach perfection by following your own nature. How? Lord Krishna explains. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings. By worshipping of Him who is the source of all beings, so that means also some consciousness must be there, about the source of all beings. It's not easy actually, You have to be educated, and also it includes that you had some hearing before and meditation, reflection. Oh, there is a source of all beings. There is a source of all beings, and and also, who is all pervading, so he's present everywhere. And this is interesting. This is very high realization actually. We are practicing this, We are practicing this. But it's a high realization to realize the Lord who is all pervading. That means whoever approaches you, it's it's under Lord's control. You see, oh, it's Krishna. Krishna's arrangement. This, it's very high level. But this is by worship of the Lord who is all pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. This is the conclusion of karma, karma yoga. And Srila Prabhupada explains very, very nicely. We'll see the explanation. We'll just a little bit repeat that from the last session. That's text from 41 to 48. We are still there. So, Srila Prabhupada explains wonderfully in the purport to text 46. He explains in the second paragraph, or last paragraph, he says, interesting recommendation from Srila Prabhupada. He says, everyone should think that he is engaged in a particular type of occupation by Rishikesh, the master of the senses. So he says, everyone should think that he is engaged in a particular type of work by Krishna. So that's especially, today we are very everything is so quickly changing, But if you recall, or if you think about times which are old times, or let's say 100 years, if you study this, there is not so much changing of occupations, isn't it? People have, especially in India, for families, they have the same occupation, for generations and generations. Think about changing occupations. So that's something which is really permanent. We don't realize it today. Today is everything so quick. We don't know when you have a next job. Next everything is so tottering. But you can recall how this dharma was stable, something permanent. And then when you're already doing this, then how you will become Krishna, how you can connect it to Krishna. So Lord Krishna explains here, Srila Prabhupada, everyone should think that he is engaged in a particular type of duty by Krishna. And this will help. And then what else he does? And by the result of the work in which one is engaged, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, should be worshipped. So some result of the work is usually what you get is money or something we have from that work. We should somehow engage in worship of Krishna. This is in India very prominent. Bringing always some flowers, some bhoga to Krishna, sponsoring different things for Krishna. It's natural there. or sponsoring books for distribution, or something that connects you more. You feel more connected. Oh, I'm giving some of my hard work, some fruits I'm giving for Krishna. This is a good feeling then. You feel more connected. So this is the karma section, karma yoga section. And then the next section, we'll still hear a few more verses, actually. Because Lord Krishna encourages one to not change his occupation if it is little troublesome. Like Arjuna, he was a fighter, but he thought this doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna fight with my own teacher, with my grandfathers. I'm gonna kill them. If I kill them all, how this can be rightful? It was because it's very deep knowledge. Even intelligent, educated people cannot understand. Because sometimes they think, oh, this is the violence, book of violence. They don't have enough depth to understand. Because academic knowledge, Prabhupada will see, explains later, it will not help you. Academic, you have to have some depth. Depth, how is it? Deep understanding, consciousness. Your consciousness must be calm. Your consciousness is very much influenced by quick conclusions. It's not possible to understand Gita. Impossible. It's a very, very cool mind, observing mind, peaceful. That's the position from which we can understand Bhagavad Gita, by the mercy of Krishna, of course. So, so Krishna is encouraging by worship of Lord, yes, but then he says it is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reactions, because they are performed according to one's nature. Even if Srila Prabhupada explains Vaishya sometimes they must lie and they must tell you, oh sir, I haven't got, haven't earned anything on you, but at least he earned double. But he has to say like this. And if you say the proper price, nobody will take it seriously and give him. So merchants, they have to have some white lies, Kshatriya, Srila Prabhupada explains, also sometimes has to lie because of diplomacy. There's diplomacy there. So Brahmanas sometimes, have to witness killing because there are some sacrifices going on, in the Vedic time especially. So every occupation has some, he says even for Shudra, he says, Shudra sometimes the master can be not the good, master sometimes will be not good, but still he will do his duty, So this is, always will be some mistake somewhere, but still one should stick to his occupation. Because if he is following his nature, it will be perfect. And he worships Krishna within, and he is giving his results to Krishna and thinks about Krishna, hears, and whenever he has time associates with other devotees, holy people, what happens? He becomes purified. He becomes, his knowledge increases, he's getting blessings, his practice is there, so he is selfless, he is getting rid of selfishness, greedy, he's giving out. What happens? Automatically he becomes detached. His consciousness grows. When he becomes detached, there is the next section there. Jnana Yoga. Lord Krishna will start explaining now. It will be more about seclusion and meditation. Lord Krishna says, one who is self-controlled and unattached. So this is the 49. So when one has arrived to this, this practice, and he is now unattached and self-controlled, and who disregards all material enjoyments that can obtain, by practice of renunciation, the highest perfect stage of freedom from reaction. So he can obtain by practice of renunciation the highest perfect stage of freedom from reaction. And then he says, "O son of Kunti, learn from me how one who has achieved this perfection can attain to the supreme perfectional stage, Brahman, the stage of highest knowledge, by acting in the way I shall now summarize." So Krishna will now summarize how actually this process of jnana, and it's many devotees, we don't actually know, we think, what is jnana yoga? Jnana yoga, what's actually jnana yoga? We think, oh, that's maybe just studying. Yes, it's mostly studying. So it's called jnana, but jnana yoga has principles. So in bhakti yoga, in Krishna consciousness, we also follow principles of jnana, like cleanliness, or 4 principles which we follow. These are the elements of jnana. They are not direct bhakti elements, but by following them you are getting on the stage which is stable, sattvic, and you can have some subtlety to receive holy name, to receive knowledge. Otherwise there is no subtlety if we are engaged too much in for sinful activities. We'll become too much in a passion and ignorance, and we will not be able to be steady and to achieve, to grow. So this is there. But these are jnana elements. But for us, since you are giving your promise to your spiritual master that you will follow this, it's included within bhakti. It's included within bhakti, but it's elements of jnana. Chanting of the holy name is also the element of jnana. You will see in the Bhagavatam. It's interesting. Actually, it's bhakti. Holy name is pure. Chanting of the holy name is Kirtanam. It's a bhakti process, but it's also included in Jnana Yoga, which we'll see in the 6th canto of Bhagavatam. When King Parikshit, Shukadeva Goswami speaks to King Parikshit how one can be relieved from sinful reactions. Then he speaks about karma. One can become free from sinful reactions by doing pious activities. He can counteract them. So if you did some sin, you can do equally some kind of atonement. Upaya, some atonement which will neutralize this. But King Parikshit did not accept this. Actually, he said, but what if I neutralize this, but still I have tendency to do it again? So then Shukadeva Goswami was testing Parikshit, so he was satisfied with his intelligence. So he said, yeah, therefore one should practice control of the senses. And then he listed different things: meditation, peacefulness, and such things, and chanting of the holy name. He also mentioned. So chanting also there, but chanting in the jnana is not meant to achieve love of God. So you have chanting, but it's in the jnana school. Chanting within jnana is not meant. You're not chanting, I want love for God. You're chanting, I want to become free from reactions. You see? So these are actually levels of consciousness. Karma, jnana, this is a level of consciousness, actually. And they have practices which are corresponding to that. So now Lord Krishna explaining here. So you see, you can have chanting like many impersonalists, they also chant the holy name. They don't want to reach love, they want liberation. But this now, which Lord Krishna will explain in this most confidential knowledge, will be amazing, what he speaks about, liberation and bhakti and devotion. What is the relationship between liberation and devotion, bhakti? Very interesting, Lord Krishna will explain. It's a great secret, it's most confidential knowledge. And we are blessed, somehow, to at least hear this and see. It's God's mercy of Srila Prabhupada, us, at least theoretically, So, texts from 51 to 53. Being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification. No smell, no smelling nice things, no looking nice things. This is giving up the objects of sense gratification. Being freed from attachment and hatred. You're not attached to anything, you don't hate anything. One who lives in a secluded place, who eats little, who controls his body, mind and power of speech, who is always in trance, who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship, and peaceful. Such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. It's interesting when you study and when you read, it's interesting to relate between Srila Prabhupada's purport and the text. I'll give you an example here. You see here in this 51 to 53, in the Sanskrit, if you look the Sanskrit, what's said there? Buddhya 51 to 53. Where is the Sanskrit? Right here. Show Sanskrit. Chup. Buddhya visuddhaya yukto. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Buddhya visuddhaya yukto. That is the first line. And you see now the purport of Srila Prabhupada, what he is saying. When one is purified by intelligence. So that's the meaning. Buddhya visuddhaya means being purified by intelligence. And Srila Prabhupada in purport is following it. He's explaining this. Explaining this. When one is purified, it's not, Srila Prabhupada got some inspiration, now he talks. He's following there. He's explaining us the proper actually words and meanings of the Sanskrit. When one is purified by intelligence, he keeps himself in the mode of goodness. Wow. So this means when I was purified, intelligence means one will always keep oneself in the mode of goodness. Thus one becomes the controller of the mind and is always in trance. Okay. We'll go on. So this situation of very, very controlled life and seclusion is actually usually what a sannyasi does. This is usually what sannyasi will do. Jnana yoga is meant actually for sannyasis. You see 16th chapter, remember? Jnana yoga was mentioned, qualities for sannyasi. And can you go to the 16?
Chapter 16.
Yeah. First, what was first? Second. Text, just to recall. Was there? Have you found it? What it says about qualities? Abhayam sattva samsudhir. You got it there? 16:1 to 3. Abhayam sattva samsudhir jnana yoga. Jnana yoga vyavastiti. Srila Prabhupada explains in purport, this is especially meant for sannyasis, these qualities. Jnana yoga. Especially for jnana yoga. And situated in jnana yoga, vyavastiti. He is established in jnana yoga. Therefore, there are no material desires. There are no activities, material activities which sannyasi will do. He will be abhayam because he knows that Krishna is in everyone's heart and he's always following him wherever he goes. Like Narada Muni also, although when he was a small boy, he could go to the dark forests and danger forests because he had this realization that Krishna is always with him. So this is the quality of a sannyasi who travels around alone. Therefore he can be alone because he knows I'm never alone. This is very, very, very nice quality. Sattva samsudhir means the purification of existence. That means he knows I'm not this body. He knows this and is acting like this also. You see, here Jnana Yoga means minimizing the bodily comforts and how you say, needs. Minimizing. It's little secluded place. You see, he's widening. How you say? Winding up. Yeah, he's closing his material existence. And then, in this state, he comes to the realization of Brahman. And this is the famous and very interesting text. We are coming back to the 18th chapter. I was just going to 16 to show this Jnana Yoga and Sannyas. I'm coming back to 18. Text 54. Brahma bhuta prasana atma nashochati nakankshati samaha sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labhate param. You want to read the translation?
One who is thus transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me.
Wow, you heard this? Such a high level, but from this level starts pure devotional service. That's a pure devotional service. So pure devotional service starts when? After the achieving Brahman. After achieving Brahman. What means achieving Brahman means we're achieving liberation from material bondage. Then they say mukti, liberation is there, but say bhakti then is there. Krishna says this is very confidential knowledge actually. Many spiritualists and schools, they consider that bhakti is instrument or tool to come to the liberation. But here we see it is, but real bhakti, pure bhakti starts after liberation, Lord Krishna says. And that's amazing information. It's very confidential actually. Real bhakti starts after liberation. Because bhakti is not of this world. You will see Srila Prabhupada wonderful purport. He speaks. The impersonalist achieving the Brahma Bhuta stage, which is explained here, becoming one with the Absolute, he thinks it's the last word. But for the personalist or pure devotee, one has to go still further to become engaged in pure devotional service. And that's the message of this verse, isn't it? You see, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, he's become very fully satisfied, no lamentation, no hankering. But what then? Mad bhaktim labhate. Then in this state he attains my bhakti, Lord Krishna says. In this state he attains my bhakti. Oh, what's now? What's going on? Liberation and now bhakti. Yes, that's what Krishna says. One has to go still further to become engaged in pure devotional service. This means that one who is engaged in pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord is already in a state of liberation. Called Brahma Bhuta, oneness with the Absolute. You see? So this is very interesting purport, because it says the devotee has already achieved this oneness. There's no need for a devotee to achieve the oneness. He already had achieved it, because he is engaged in pure devotional service, which comes after. And Srila Prabhupada says this. Is follow? This means one who is engaged in pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord is already in a state of liberation called Brahma Bhuta, oneness with the Absolute. Without being one with the Supreme, one cannot render service unto Him. So that means coming to the same level. Coming to the same level, to the same vibration, let's say, same level of existence. That's Brahma Bhuta existence. One cannot render service. In the absolute conception, there is no difference. There is no difference between the served and the servitor. Yet, this distinction is there in a higher spiritual sense. So this is what this is a little bit oneness, but difference. They are one, but they are separated, because otherwise, if how they can have a relationship? One cannot have a relationship, but in oneness one can have a relationship. There can be two in oneness. Krishna and the devotee in oneness. They can have exchange. This is the message. It says like this. We go on. Because a pure devotee has no thought other than Krishna, he is naturally always joyful. So this is joyfulness of a devotee. Huh? He becomes naturally joyful because he thinks of Krishna. He has no desire for material enjoyment because he knows that every living entity is a fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme, and therefore everyone is therefore eternally a servant. Okay. And he says, Srila Prabhupada says that a pure devotee, for a pure devotee, the idea of becoming one with the Supreme Brahman and annihilating one's individuality becomes hellish. This hellish idea to annihilate one's identity. This is actually coming from the conviction that individuality means illusion. That's still materially tinged consciousness, where one thinks, I suffer because I have individuality. If I lose this individuality, dissolve it, then I will not suffer. This is the idea. But this is actually conditioned by negative experience, to neutralize. But Srila Prabhupada explains, yes, this is just neutralizing the negative experience, but then there is a positive experience. Spiritual life, spiritual body, spiritual individuality. Alright, so this is very important text which shows us that bhakti comes after the liberation. Let's go to text 55. Again we have word bhakti there in text 55. Bhaktya. Bhaktya means by. It's instrumental word, means by this. By devotional service, by bhakti. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavanyascha asmi tattvata tato mam tattvato gyatva vishate tadanantaram. It almost can be understood. Bhaktya, by bhakti, by devotion, mam, me, abhijanati, can be known. I can be known by bhakti, Lord Krishna says. Yavan yascha asmi, as I am. I can be known as I am. By bhakti. So if one wants to know him as he is, Lord Krishna says this can be done by bhakti. These are confidential instructions, repeated in the 18th chapter. So, and when one is in full consciousness of me, by such devotion he can enter into the kingdom of God. So this is also, how can one realize Krishna? This is also a very important text. Lord Krishna explains how can one realize him. How? By bhakti. You need karma yoga, you need jnana yoga, you need all these things to become purified. But these, he says, always there is some bhakti element in those which helps us. There is never jnana pure. Jnana always have some bhakti inside. Mixture, little bit. There's some chanting of the holy name. There's something. But then pure devotion. That's how one can realize Krishna. In karma also, there is some bhakti there. Some feeling is there. I'm doing for Krishna. I'm doing for Krishna. Or I'm giving results. Some relationship is there. But pure bhakti is that's overwhelming love for Krishna. One naturally gives everything to him. Everything. So he says, here Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport little. not in the immediately, a few sentences later, he says, no one can understand God simply by erudite scholarship. Huh? So you can be educated like, I don't know, but no one can understand God by scholarship or mental speculation. Only one who is actually engaged in Krishna consciousness and devotional service can understand what Krishna is. Only one who is engaged in devotional service can understand what Krishna is. So not by some dry scholarship, but by cleaning the temple. Yes, they can, this cleaner, how can, yes, this cleaner. He can realize Krishna. He can understand Krishna. This is bhakti. It turns everything upside down. Yes, Srila Prabhupada explains, university degrees are not helpful in bhakti. We should use them. We should do it, not that we should. But it's not that if you go to some high school you will now understand Krishna. Yes, we have a school for understanding Krishna, but that's different kind of school. All right. And Srila Prabhupada here again explains, becoming Brahman does not mean that one loses his identity. Devotional service is there, and as long as devotional service exists, there must be God, the devotee, and the process of devotional service. Such knowledge is never vanquished, even after liberation. He gives a wonderful example which you can actually see in India, in Vrindavan specifically. He gives example if there is a green bird, and green bird goes into the green tree, but it's not going there to merge with the tree. It just looks like that. It's going there to enjoy on the tree. So this is a devotional life. In Vrindavan you can see a tree, and you see only at the tree, nothing there, but some sound comes, and there are like 100 parrots, green parrots, get out from the tree, from where all these came. Yeah? This wonderful example for India, you can understand. Green bird on the green tree. He says it doesn't live in. It looks like, but individuality is still there. All right. Right. Prabhupada cites also the Vedanta Sutra. After liberation, the process of bhakti continues. This is such an important, actually, point. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada, specifically in different schools, spiritual schools, this is very, very strong point. It's very unique. And therefore Srila Prabhupada supports with Vedanta Sutra, because Vedanta Sutra, you can explain it in different ways. So he says in Vedanta Sutra, aprayanat tatrapi hidrishtam. This means that after liberation, the process of devotional service continues. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, real devotional liberation is defined as, so Bhagavatam explains what is liberation. What is the liberation? Definition of Bhagavatam, second canto is this way. Srila Prabhupada here speaks in this purport of 55. He says, Srimad Bhagavatam, real devotional liberation is defined as the reinstatement of the living entity in his own identity, his own constitutional position. And that is being explained. Every living entity is a part and parcel, fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, his constitutional position is to serve. After liberation, this service is never stopped. Actual liberation is getting free from misconceptions of life. Interesting. Constitutional position. What's that? Hitva anyat harupam. Swarupena vyavastiti, that is in Sanskrit. Hitva means rejecting all other forms, anyatha rupam. Swarupena vyavastiti, and being established in his own form. That's liberation. That means actually becoming what you are. Stop dreaming. That's it. Yeah, we are finished with our dreams, and we are what we are. That's actually liberation. Yeah. Servant of Krishna, eternal loving relationship with Krishna. Okay, so that's 55. Now we're going to further on from another section. We will be from 56 to 66, which actually goes towards the most confidential knowledge. But these few verses from 56 to 59 will speak about working, acting in consciousness of Krishna. That's what Lord Krishna explains here. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee under my protection reaches the eternal and perishable abode by my grace. See, it may seem that the devotee is engaged in material activity. It may seem like that, but it isn't. It's completely different. See, all kinds of activities. So he wants to say, we can have a think about Arjuna. He's engaged in war. Oh my God, But this war, this fight of Arjuna, was actually what? Pure devotional service. Sure. It was also karma yoga. Lord Krishna did not ask Arjuna to, I don't know, what? Take care of the cows. Or, I don't know. He asked him to fight, and he was a fighter. So he asked him to do something which is very natural for him. But Arjuna didn't want, because he was seeing some consequences there. It's very, very interesting. But he says, though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee under my protection, because under my protection, Srila Prabhupada explains, to be free from material contamination, a pure devotee acts under the direction of the Supreme Lord or his representative, the spiritual master. There is no time limitation for a pure devotee. He is always 24 hours a day, 100% engaged in activities under the direction of the Supreme Lord. And to a devotee who is thus engaged in Krishna consciousness, the Lord is very, very kind. This is very high level, It's glorious level. Glorious level. Complete Krishna consciousness. Then next he says, Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matpara buddhi yogam upashritya matchita satatam bhava. 57. In all activities just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. Buddhi Yogam. This is Buddhi Yoga. And this Buddhi Yoga topic, I will not now bother you with this Buddhi Yoga. But Krishna mentions this Buddhi Yoga already in the 2nd chapter. And then Buddhi Yoga means, acting with intelligence. But Arjuna could not immediately understand, what was that Buddhi Yoga. And then he asked in the end of the 2nd chapter, in the beginning of 3rd chapter, Arjuna asked, if you recommend Buddhi or intelligence, why you still want me to be engaged in this warfare? He could not connect Buddhi Yoga, intelligence and activity. Buddhi Yoga means ceasing of activity. But Lord Krishna later explained the actual Buddhi Yoga is bhakti. That was his intention. Therefore he has translated as bhakti, devotion. See? Buddhi Yoga upashritya matchita satatam bhava. Always think of me, completely be absorbed in me. This is actual Buddhi Yoga. Also 10 chapter, famous shloka. How we go? 10. Yeah, Machita also, but there is a Tesham Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mam Upayanti Te. That's a famous shloka, the devotees always learn this shloka. 10. Can you read for us? Yeah. Yeah.
To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me.
See, this Buddha Yoga is actually coming from Krishna to the devotee who is serving him with love. Krishna gives intelligence. You can be illiterate. You'll be most intelligent personality. Yeah? Like Gorky showed us Babaji, who was not so literate, or many others too. So, says, Buddha Yoga Upashritya Machita Satatam Bhava, become fully conscious of me. And Srila Prabhupada, I will just have one hint of the purport. While working in that way, one should think of Krishna only. I have been appointed to discharge this particular duty by Krishna. So whatever we do, we can think like this. This is given to me by Krishna. And this we will feel connection. But then, very important here is this, already 57, let me see, 55, 56, yeah. Very important is in the 57, Srila Prabhupada says one thing here, interesting, he says, one should, however, note that after doing something whimsically, he should not offer the result to the Supreme Lord. Something which we do, which is dharmic, we can offer to Krishna. But if we do something whimsically, he says, we cannot offer this. Some stupid thing or some simple stuff. You cannot offer this to Krishna. It's no point. So he says, that sort of duty is not in the devotional service of Krishna consciousness. One should act according to the order of Krishna. This is a very important point. That order of Krishna comes through disciplic succession from the bona fide spiritual master. Now we came to the conclusion. One who is abiding by the orders or instruction of the spiritual master, safe. So he can offer all this to Krishna. Okay. He says, if one gets a bona fide spiritual master and acts according to his direction, then one's perfection of life in Krishna consciousness is guaranteed. So he says, in all activities depend on me. And then 58, he says, if you become conscious of me, what will happen? What it says there. Yeah.
Will pass over all the obstacles of the conditioned life by my grace. If however you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost.
So if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life. Mat prasadat, Lord Krishna says, Mat prasadat, by my mercy. Prasad also means mercy. By my mercy you will go over all obstacles. But if you do not work in such consciousness, if you're not conscious of me, he says, but to act through false ego, I am the doer, I will, I know how I do, I will do. He says, that means, adhachetvam ahankaran na shroshyasi. Na shroshyasi means you're not hearing, super soul or Krishna or spiritual instructions. You don't care, I do my own thing, I don't care. What will happen? Vinangshyasi. You'll be lost. Be lost. What means you'll be lost? You'll be taken in the whirlpool of lower gunas, material life and consciousness going down. So this is very either this way or that way. It's some small lila. Tell you. I was distributing books one year in one parking lot, and one lady came there, and I approached her and offered her a Krishna book. And she was like, she was like, she was not sure, like, why should I, or should I? And then I said something which I didn't plan to say. It came out from inside. I just said, if you take this book now, your life goes in a certain way. If you don't take this book, your life will go in some other direction. And she thought, no, you blackmailed me. And she took the book. She would have, but I said it, somehow, I was not thinking, I was just, naturally I said that, I don't know how, it's a Krishna, mercy. Krishna wants to help her, and I was there, and he engaged me, He said something through me probably to get her, It was sweet, it was not like, oh, no, blackmail. It was very sweet, exchange. He said, oh, no, blackmail. I said, no, I don't know. Okay, I'm thinking. Yeah, so this is what happens with us actually, Like these words here are, like you're lost, but we can see in our daily life we have our small losses and our small gains, isn't it? In our daily life here we have nashroshyasi, we have these not hearings, and then we have some small losses, and then we have some hearing, and so this is in different levels going on. But here is like crucial, if you hear all this instruction, you will, by my mercy, because you are under my protection. If you are not coming under my protection, if you do your own thing, I can't help, Lord Krishna says, because we will learn it later, because Lord Krishna respects the decision of the living entity. We'll see that later. Text 59. Now, Lord Krishna says interesting thing to Arjuna. Yad ahankaram ashritya. If you take shelter of your ahankara, of your false ego, if you take shelter of your false ego, that means you're not taking shelter of Krishna. Na yotsya iti manyase, thinking I will not fight. Mityaisha vyavasayaste prakritistvam niyokshyati. If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. So he says basically to Arjuna, if you work according to your own ego, you will again fight. You will be forced by your own nature. You're a warrior. But it will be out of your false ego. So Srila Prabhupada says here, interesting, very, very interesting thing. It says, where's that sentence? I found that sentence, let's see here. Where's that? Actually, was it? Oh. Anyway, he says, therefore his natural duty was to fight because he was a military man. But due to false ego, he was fearing that by killing his teacher, grandfather and friends, he would incur sinful reaction. Actually, he was considering himself master of his actions. This is very deep. You see, he was thinking, yes, if I do this, this will not be good, if I do this, but he did not consider one thing. That is, it's Krishna's instruction, it's his plan. Whew. You see, material intelligence gives you reasons, and it's in front of you, it's so visible. I cannot do this, I cannot fight my own teacher. But there is only one thing there, it's Krishna's desire. Krishna arranged it already. Whew. So the whole Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada says, can be summarized in 2 words. Do it. It's basically telling, do it, surrender to me. Krishna says to Arjuna. In different ways, he's explaining, coming to this conclusion. Yeah. Says, one should act unhesitatingly to execute the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That will keep one safe under all circumstances. Whew. Imagine that. Whatever order there is from Guru or from you unhesitatingly, yeah, do it. You will be always in the spiritual need. Yeah, will never be. Will always be safe. That will keep one safe under all circumstances. It's nice to read about it, huh? It's inspiring. Is it inspiring or not? Yeah. It's inspiring. It should be inspiring. Yeah. It's wow, that's nice. Okay, we are not there, but it gives us a nice feeling, if I do this a little bit, I'll be, like this. So now Lord Krishna is concluding at text 60, under illusion you are now declining to act according to my direction, but compelled by the work born of your own nature, not burn, born, born of your own nature, you will act all the same. Oh, son of Kunti, you will do the same. You will again do the same thing which you didn't want to do. You will have to do it. But you just do it for me now and you will become glorious. That's the idea. Huh? This is the conclusion by Prabhupada. You see the last sentence of purport on text 60. Someone want to read this sentence? Last sentence of the purport to text 60.
But anyone who voluntarily engages himself under the direction of Supreme Lord becomes glorious.
You see? Voluntarily we accept direction of the Supreme Lord and become glorious. So what Arjuna did, he fought, and he is a fighter. For him, it's natural to fight. He became glorious because he did it for Krishna. All right. So this was from 60, until 60. This was now about acting in Krishna, full Krishna consciousness. Now is coming. Lord Krishna is encouraging Arjuna to surrender to the Super Soul. Now is coming the more confidential knowledge is the knowledge of the Super Soul. It's coming now. This is all summary of the whole Bhagavad Gita. Now in few verses he will speak about Super Soul, he says. Text 61 is also famous verse, often cited also by Srila Prabhupada. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriddesha arjuna tishtkati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra arudani mayaya. Even you want to read this text 61 loudly for us.
The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy.
Thanks. See, what Krishna is telling now, that there is Arjuna was not the supreme knower, but that's how he acted in the beginning, to teach us. Sometimes we act. I know how things are being done, but then by our knowledge and conviction we become confused. That's what happens, and that's blessing. We become confused. Like Arjuna, he knew, no, we cannot fight, we cannot do this. It's crazy, it's mad. Then he gave reasons why, and the reasons were amazing reasons, nature. All logical, moral reasons. But then he became confused. And Krishna said, okay. And he said, Krishna, I'm surrendering unto you, please help me. I don't know what to do anymore. So this is a devotee. This is when we become a devotee. We have our own material intelligence, which is really okay, giving us strong arguments for things. But when we start doubting, then we have a chance to become a devotee. When we open a little bit, we give a chance to some other solution besides my intelligence. And that happens when you get blessed, because Arjuna understood, I cannot solve these problems alone. If I fight, it's not good. If we don't fight, it's not good. Because if you don't fight, everyone will speak bad about me, and that's for Kshatriya, it's bad. And if we fight and kill them, then how will we enjoy? We will kill all our friends with whom we will enjoy this kingdom. Everyone will be dead. So it was no any reason for this war in Arjuna's mind. It was all inauspicious. But after hearing Bhagavad Gita, he understood, no, this is all auspicious. See, this is the transformation of spiritual knowledge. It's amazing transformation. So let's see how it's going on. Lord Krishna is continuing, he says, Tam eva sharanam gacha sarva bhavanam bharata tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. O son of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme eternal abode. 62, yeah. 62. In this purport there is an interesting sentence. I'll just read it from Prabhupada's sentence. It says, the transcendental world is described in the Vedic literature, Rig Veda, as Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. And since all of creation is the kingdom of, listen to this sentence, since all of creation is the kingdom of God, everything material is actually spiritual. We will not go on with this because we will not enter more into this. We'll leave you with this so that you can a little bit think about it in your own time. It says everything material is actually spiritual because everything is kingdom of God. This is also one part of the kingdom of God. It just has a different, laws. It's temporary. It's changing, but it's kingdom of God. And for one who has gone out of illusion, he doesn't see material things. He sees Krishna, spiritual world. It's very interesting. All right, and here it says, no? Srila Prabhupada continues, since all of the creation is the kingdom of God, everything material is actually spiritual, but Paramam Padam specifically refers to the eternal abode which is called the spiritual sky or Vaikuntha. All right. Okay. Now 63. So this was the knowledge of Paramatma. More confidential knowledge. Iti te jnanam akyatam guhyataram maya vimrishyaya tadasheshena yathe chasi tatha kuru. Some commentators, they say this is the most important text of the Bhagavad Gita. What is the most important injunction in Bhagavad Gita? They say, Yathe chasi tatha kuru. Do what you want. You can do what you want without hearing Bhagavad Gita. Reading Bhagavad Gita and then do what you want. But it's very important. It's very important also. We see this is very interesting. Lord Krishna speaks to Arjuna. Srila Prabhupada will explain to us. Thus I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. So first was the knowledge of Brahman, then how to achieve Brahman, Brahma Bhuta Bhakti, then how to achieve Paramatma, knowledge of Paramatma. And now he says, I've explained to this more confidential knowledge about Paramatma. Deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to do. Then do what you wish to do. Deliberate on this and then do what you wish to do.
But it's also It's also with the food, like that. They gave us the food in the mode of goodness, passion and ignorance, and then there is no really saying that you will be punished or anything. They just give consequences, and then it's up to you, will you still eat it or not?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. That's exactly like that. So he has deliberate fully on this. Therefore, he says, "No, think about this, about all this, and then act. It's your wish. Act by how you wish to do. Ichhasi, that will be your desire. So you see, our desires are actually influenced by our convictions also. See, Arjuna didn't want to fight, but later his desire changed. See, by Krishna's conviction, desire changed and he wanted to fight. So they say this is violent book, because they cannot understand. Some people just can't understand. They think this is a book of violence. It's very, very shallow. Shallow? It's really shallow level of understanding like this. It's very shallow. Like most of this world is so shallow. The more so always think of me. Oh, sorry, you're not yet there. Yeah. So the Lord has already explained. That's 63. Yeah, 63. Yes. This is interesting text from Prabhupada. Interesting. In the last sentence of the purport to 63. Maybe Cliff, you have it there. Before surrendering.
The last bit of 63, yeah?
Yeah, it says before surrendering.
Such instruction.
No, it says before surrendering.
Sentence before.
The purport.
Yeah.
You have it there?
I have the
Before
purport.
surrendering, one is free to deliberate.
Yeah, that one. Can you read but loudly, please?
Before surrendering, one is free to deliberate on this subject as far as the intelligence goes. That is the best way to accept the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Okay. So it says before surrendering.
So is it 63? Text
63 purport. Purport to 63. End of purport. It says before surrendering, one is free to deliberate on this subject as far as intelligence goes. You got it also, yeah? So one is free to deliberate as far as intelligence goes before surrendering. Because when you come to conviction, then there is no doubt. This is very powerful action. When we usually act, we have some doubts always. But when we have no doubt, no single small doubt in some action, it's very strong then. We have doubts in ourselves, we have doubts in the God, we have doubts in our activities, but when you're completely clear of doubts, then action is so pure and powerful. We'll see this from Arjuna's example. So, but you see how Lord Krishna is very personal now. Now he's telling to Arjuna, you think about this, okay? But then he says, text 64, because you are my very dear friend. You see, he's telling him, think about this carefully. But then Lord Krishna says, but because you are my very dear friend. I'm speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. So Lord Krishna wants the benefits, to benefit us. Wonderful. So we'll see Srila Prabhupada in this purport also speaks about gradation of knowledge that Lord Krishna has given already. The Lord has given Arjuna knowledge that is confidential, Brahman, still more confidential, Paramatma, Super Soul, and now he is giving the most confidential part of knowledge. And this will be now explained in the text 65. 65 and 66. Famous knowledge. If you know, you can chant together with me. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi. It's all mom. Those Krishna say, yeah, always think of me. Yeah? Always think of me. Become my devotee. Always think of me. Become Baba Mad Bhakto. Even we can understand. Baba Mad Bhakto. Become my devotee. This is Lord Krishna's most confidential instruction. Become my devotee. He gave many things. Karma, jnana, this, that. But this most confidential instruction is become my devotee. Always think of me, become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. These 4 things he said. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Prabhupada speaks to us, he say, this most confidential part of knowledge is spoken to Arjuna because he is the dear friend of Krishna. But then what Srila Prabhupada next says, the last sentence of the purport. You have it there?
Sentence of the purport.
65.
Concentration.
Everyone who follows,
Everyone
who follows the path of Arjuna can become a dear friend to Krishna and obtain the same perfection as Arjuna.
Oh, everyone who follows the path of Arjuna can become a dear friend of Krishna, to Krishna, and obtain the same perfection as Arjuna. Yeah. Yeah, it's not the last. Sorry, it was not the last sentence of the purport, but of the of paragraph. Yeah. But still, yeah, concentration of the mind on the form of Krishna constitutes the most confidential part of knowledge, and this is disclosed to Arjuna because Arjuna is the most dear friend of Krishna's. We have still a little more to go. Are you ready? Or now it comes this is the most now continuation from Lord Krishna speaks to Arjuna, also famous text. Sarva dharmam parityajya mamekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchah. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Such a powerful thing. Do not fear. I spoke with one friend when he was joining Krishna consciousness. He said when he read this "Do not fear," it meant so much to him because he had many fears, and he had such a faith in Krishna's words. Krishna said, "Do not fear," and I can just surrender. I will go. He left and went to the temple in another country. So this is the words of Krishna, which helps us a lot, giving us solace. And Srila Prabhupada, there's a 66, explain practically what surrender means. It has 6 aspects. So we can analyze our surrender, and we can study and see how can we surrender. Make a plan. How can I surrender? And that is first 2 things. Is quoting Hari Bhakti Vilas. Really, Sanskrit is there. The process of surrender to Krishna is described in Hari Bhakti Vilas, and he has a Sanskrit there. Anukulyasya sankalpa. One should accept that which is favorable. for Krishna consciousness. Accepting what is favorable. And one should reject that is pratikulyasya, that which is not helpful, varjanam, one should reject. So this is two important points. We should see what is for me, we can discuss also these things with friends or with spiritual master, what is for me favorable and how can I apply it, and what is not favorable and how can I get rid of it, Maybe we can't get rid of immediately, but we can make some plan. We can make some plan. It's a wonderful purport. And Srila Prabhupada says, one should be attracted by the beautiful vision of Krishna. His name is Krishna because he is all attractive. One who becomes attracted by beautiful, all-powerful, omnipotent vision of Krishna is fortunate. There are different kinds of transcendentalists. Some of them are attached to impersonal Brahman vision, some of them are attracted by the super soul feature, etc. But one who is attracted to personal feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and above all, who is attracted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Krishna himself, because he says, Manmana, he says, Krishna himself, is the most perfect transcendentalists. In other words, devotional service to Krishna in full consciousness is the most confidential part of knowledge. And this is the essence of the whole Bhagavad Gita. The particular words used here, ma shucha, don't fear, do not hesitate, do not worry, are very significant. One may be perplexed as to how can one give up all kinds of religious forms and simply surrender unto Krishna, but such worry is useless, he says. If you hear in different classes of Srila Prabhupada, and there was this Ishopanishad, one class on Ishopanishad, Srila Prabhupada explained, gave very interesting sentence. He said, if you offer your food to Krishna, that means sarva dharmam parityajya. This means abandon all and surrender unto me. Just see. You see, this is, if you're offering your food to Krishna, this is sarva dharmam parityajya. So it's consciousness. Sarva dharmam parityajya actually is a sannyasa, level of sannyasi. But sannyasa is two ways. One is practical, visible sannyasa, but another is inner sannyas, which most devotees are inner sannyas, because they, from inside, they are offering everything to Krishna. No attachment, but they are in this world. Many amazing souls, spiritual, elevated devotees. They were acting in this world, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, But they were such highly elevated souls, because their consciousness was sannyasa. Sannyasa consciousness. Everything for Krishna. Everything only for Krishna. This only thing he's made of, this is nothing else. Although he acts in the world. Okay, Jai. Now, since this is the most confidential knowledge, is not for everyone, isn't it? If it is for everyone, then how it is confidential? So Lord Krishna, in 67, he explains that this confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada will be explaining to us one by one. He says one can be tapasvi, one can do austerities, because if you don't do austerities, if you're living a very, very relaxed luxury life, you can't appreciate. You are too dull. You're too relaxed and dull. This will mean nothing. So you can just open television, watch some series, relax more. You will not be able to be enough awake and to grasp any of that knowledge, naturally. Tapas, one who is doing austerities. By austerities we appreciate Lord's creation. We start appreciating when we are not enjoying, like whatever we can. We start, some respect comes there. Srila Prabhupada explains, we start appreciating the creation of Lord. And then he says, but one may be tapasvi, but if he is not devoted, na bhaktaya, if he is not devotee, then also this knowledge should not be explained, because he will not accept. And then she says, if he is tapasvi and devotee, Prabhupada says so-called devotee, like proclaiming oneself a devotee, this is the purport. He says, but if he is not cha ashushrushrava, if he is not practicing devotional service, living it, also should not be explained. If one just says I'm devotee, but it's not doing practicing, it should also be, it shouldn't be explained. And then Prabhupada concludes. He says, there are many persons who envy Krishna because he has explained in Bhagavad Gita that he is the supreme, and that nothing is above him or equal to him. So I say, you become envious, How he can say like this? This cannot be God, he cannot say like this. Huh? This envy. Yeah? Then also it cannot be explained. So Lord Krishna is saying no to all these kind of people. Bhagavad Gita should not be explained. And then to whom it can be explained. 68. For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, Mad Bhakteshu, to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. So wonderful. Confident, no, for everyone, devotee. Okay. He says, anyone, however, who tries sincerely to present Bhagavad Gita as it is, will advance in devotional service and reach the pure devotional state of life. Text 69. Furthermore, Lord Krishna says, who wants to read this text? Yes, Ivan.
There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear.
This devotees use this a lot for book distribution or for preaching. Go and give this knowledge to others. Give knowledge to others, then you will become very dear to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada used to say, you become Krishna's favorite. Just go out and give this knowledge to others, you become Krishna's favorite, you see. And, it's true, you get much benefit by trying to give this to others. And even when you don't have a lot of realization, some what you have, Krishna helps a lot, helps amazingly. Like Arjuna, same thing. We experience the same thing what Arjuna experienced. You have your material intelligence which is telling you, no, I'm not qualified. And people cannot understand. And this and that. But then you have Krishna's instruction there. And then conflict. Like Arjuna's conflict, same conflict. But then you go and try and you see miracle happen. Miracles, no? Yeah. Miracles happen. Something which is completely out of your intelligence. That's what happened to Arjuna in the war. Things which were above his influence, what Krishna arranged. It's very important. See how close to us is Bhagavad Gita. Because when we practice devotional service, then we can understand. We can understand this when we practice any kind of practice, or even desire to practice, and even little practice. Then, blessings of Lord Krishna. I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence. So this is worship of Krishna by intelligence. When we study, try to understand Bhagavad Gita. That's 71. 70, yeah, 70. Then 71. And one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planets where the pious dwell. And you know what is this? Srila Prabhupada in purport in this text, what he says, we have a little more. What he says. Lord explicitly forbade the Gita as being spoken to those who are envious of the Lord. In other words, Bhagavad Gita is for devotees only. But, then we have but. But it so happens that sometimes a devotee of the Lord will hold open class, and in that class not all the students are expected to be devotees. Why do such persons hold open class? It is explained here that although not everyone is a devotee, still there are many men who are not envious of Krishna. They have faith in him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If such persons hear from a bona fide devotee about the Lord, the result is that they become at once free from all sinful reactions, and after that attain to the planetary system where all righteous persons are situated. Therefore, simply by hearing Bhagavad Gita, even a person who does not try to be a pure devotee attains the result of righteous activities. It's such a blessing. I cannot imagine that, huh? And goes to the higher planets, and these are not higher planets like Svarga, where you enjoy and then come back here. These are higher planets where you don't come back. See, Srila Prabhupada explains here. The word Punya Karmanam is very significant. This refers to the performance of great sacrifices like Ashwamedha Yagya mentioned in the Vedic literature. Those who are righteous in performing devotional service but who are not pure can attain planetary system of the pole star or Dhruva Loka, where Dhruva Maharaj is presiding. He is a great devotee of the Lord, and he has a special planet which is called the pole star. See, so you don't go back probably from pole star. Usually from Svarga, you enjoy and you come back here from these higher planets. You just go on. Proceed on. You're not coming back into this miserable place. Of course, we like this place. We can breathe, we can. But imagine for someone who experiences, freedom from this, some high, much higher level, and then coming back to this is, no, not again. That's why it's explained the demigods in Svarga. They don't have old age there. They don't have old age, no sickness, nothing. But when they are supposed to die, that fall down to earth again back, they flower garland, which actually never vanquishes, starts to fade. And when it slowly starts to fade after thousands of years, then they understand, oh, my time is coming. And then it's horror, Explains like this, So coming back, even people who leave the body, they don't want to come back again. This old body, full of. I don't want to go unless they are too much attached in bodily consciousness and think about their loved ones. Oh, I still must take care of them. How you will take care? You cannot move, This illusion of attachment becomes so attached, crazy. But actually, just fly away, Krishna. All right, now the concluding things, which are concluding for last 1 hour. Wonderful question by Krishna. O son of Preta, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with an attentive mind? Are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled? You see, Krishna is asking Arjuna, And interesting sentence of Srila Prabhupada is here for us. He says, actually, no, excuse me. Yeah, this one, yeah. The Lord was acting as the spiritual master of Arjuna. Therefore, it was his duty to inquire from Arjuna whether he understood the whole Bhagavad Gita in its proper perspective. Huh? If not, what then? You got it there? Was ready to explain to him whatever, because otherwise, if you're going, you cannot go to war. Otherwise, this is a pure devotional service. Should be done with full heart, with full faith. If something is not understood properly or some doubts are there, one cannot act, especially fight like that. But it also refers to us. We can't surrender wholeheartedly, if you don't have faith. And this faith is very interesting thing, very interesting. It's in the heart. It comes. It's not here with something happening, but actually real faith comes in the heart, and you have this. You just have faith. We got some association of devotees of something, something, and faith is inside, and I have faith in Krishna. I have faith in the heart that I want to go and sing with devotees. I want to do service. I want to do this. I want to do that. That's inside. It's not only I should. It's the faith. It's very magical thing, faith. And Arjuna's answer: my dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt, and I'm prepared to act according to your instructions. The result. This is the result of hearing. I can ask ourselves when after some. Is my illusion now gone? Okay. Am I prepared completely to go into kitchen? Joke. Or to do whatever I'm supposed to do. All right. And the last part is we have again Sanjaya, who was in the beginning. Sanjaya was in the beginning. Sanjaya Vacha. Actually, Dhritarashtra asks Sanjaya. Dhritarashtra Vacha. That's how Bhagavad Gita begins. Dharma kshetra kurukshetra samaveta yutsava mamaka pandavas chaiva kim akurvata. Sanjaya, Sanjaya, what have they done? My sons and sons of Pandu, he discriminated on the holy field of Kurukshetra, desiring to fight. That was the beginning. And now, in the end, Sanjaya speaks. He says, thus I have heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna, and so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end. Imagine Sanjaya's thrill, His hair is standing on end. And Srila Prabhupada explains why is this wonderful message, because it's spoken by two great souls. The Supreme Soul, and Supreme Soul speaks to. The conversation was wonderful because such an important conversation between two great souls had never taken place before and would not take place again. It was wonderful because the Supreme Person was speaking about himself and his energies to the living entity Arjuna, a great devotee of the Lord. If we follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna, then our life will be happy and successful. Sanjaya realized this, and as he began to understand it, he related the conversation to Dhritarashtra. Now it is concluded, wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, there is victory. That is the conclusion. 75. By the mercy of Vyasa, I have heard these most confidential talks. directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjuna. Vyasa was the spiritual master of Sanjaya, and Sanjaya admits that it was by Vyasa's mercy that he could understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This means that one has to understand Krishna not directly, but through the medium of the spiritual master. This is the mystery of the disciplic succession. The mystery is disciplic succession. What is the mystery? The spiritual master and this transparent medium, although it is true that the experience is still direct. So many mediums are there, but the experience is direct. This is the meaning of parampara. It's not, that everything is, you have so many mediums and then experience is through, no, direct experience. But the mediums are there. And these mediums help us actually to come into the, on the level where we can have direct experience. Why? Because humility is there. You have medium, your service, and this attitude puts us into the situation to receive it. And we get the blessings of the mediums and blessings of Krishna. Direct. Otherwise, if we go directly, ego. It's very difficult. No? Then we will not be able to come to this level. Therefore, we want to be servant of the servant of the servant. And this is always, I want to be servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. Jai Shri Sanjaya. He got the mercy of Vyasa, his spiritual master, got him blessings, he could see everything. Although if we read in Mahabharata, it says that he was going back and forth. He was always running back and forth, but probably he was going with his subtle body or something, But he was explaining, everything he was revealed to him, even the Vishvarupa. He could even see the Vishvarupa, nobody saw it. No? Only few of them could see it. And so, this is next text. This is text 76. Rajan, O king, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure being thrilled at every moment. He's thrilled at every moment by remembering this. And then, the Vishvarupa. O king, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again. So Vyasadeva disclosed to his disciple this. Because it was exhibited to Arjuna only, yet some great devotees could also see the universal form of Krishna when it was shown to Arjuna, including Sanjaya. He's now speaking to blind King Dhritarashtra. He's so much in thrill. And then the final one. Conclusion of Sanjaya. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shrir Vijaya Bhutir Dhruvanitir Matir Mama. He says, my opinion, wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also be certainly opulence, victory, extraordinary power and morality. This is my opinion. That's the end. That means other party have no chance. He said before the war, he said other party have no chance. The time is really kept long here. Thanks for your, it was not definitely easy to keep all attention like this too long. It was our last, But it's very, very interesting. Now Sanjaya is concluding this, but if you will see the Mahabharata, Krishna will just be the driver, and there are so many. If you have only Bhishma cannot die. He cannot be killed. This is the blessing, he can die when he wants. most powerful fighter. Only if you have only Bhishma, it's already enough. And they had Karna. They had Drona, the teacher of Arjuna's, and so many great warriors. No, it was, and you know, Duryodhana asked for Krishna's army. The whole Krishna's army fought. You know, the whole army of Krishna fought for Duryodhana. Because Krishna told him, you can choose whether you want me or my army. So he said, oh, I want your army. Of course. Because he could not understand, he didn't have faith in Krishna. Yeah. But Arjuna, is with same delight, Arjuna chose Krishna. Yeah. But Krishna said, yes, but I will not fight. No problem. You don't need to fight. Yeah. This is the fate of a devotee. Yeah. And Krishna arranged everything. And they managed to win. And, you know, before the war, when Bhagavad Gita was spoken, it was not immediately the war started. No. This interesting thing happened. Yudhishthir got down from his horse. He took away his arm, his weapons, thrown everything away, and started going towards the enemy. And everyone was looking from Krishna's side. Everyone was looking at Yudhishthira, thinking, what he's doing? You know, will he surrender now to Duryodhana? No. And the other party was also confused, and Duryodhana was looking and kind of like, oh, is Yudhishthira going to surrender? What's going on? You know? But then Yudhishthira approached Drona, Bhishma, and Kripa, senior personalities. Each one of them separately, you know, offered dandavats, touched the feet, and asked, please give me blessings that we may win in this war. Bhishma have told him, I would certainly destroy everything. But since you asked me for blessings, definitely I give you all my best wishes. You will win. So he asked them blessings to win. And he came back. He got blessings from all the senior personalities. So they blessed them. See how important it is, because they're also devotees. So that was it. Thank you. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.